Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. First off, let's get out of the way. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, but chances are if you haven't done it yet, you're not gonna, so yada yada yada. So I've covered this before. If you look at the thumbnail, how to restore quarter panel windows. But if you don't want to go back 50 videos or whatever it was, restoring quarter panel windows is pretty easy. It's pretty simple if you use the right materials, and they'll last probably just as long as the new reproduction quarter windows I got out for these cars right now. I've tried the reproduction ones that come from DC. I don't like the way they fit on they meet the roof rail on the top. They kind of look like crap. From what I was told was he made the rubbers wider on the reproduction windows for people who had their cars painted with the quarter panel windows in them. So when you take the old ones out, the new ones will cover up the tape line from the paint job. That's what I was told from a good, reliable source. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me, but, you know, I guess it does help out those people that had their cars painted before those windows came out. So, good and bad, indifferent, I guess. However, I'm going to use Project Phoenix original quarter windows. I'm not going to waste $800 on a set of quarter panel windows that I'm not happy with, that the studs might break off and they don't fit the way I like them to fit. So I'll show you the quarter windows that came out of this car. They are original. They've never been replaced. The rubbers are very savable. Now, you do have some quarter windows that you just can't save. The rubbers are too far gone. There's too much material that's dry rotted or deteriorated. The sun's burned it to pieces. You're not saving that. That's just garbage. Go shoot a 9mm at the glass or something like that. Or maybe one day they'll find somebody that's restoring these windows. I think Fox Resto used to do it. He did a set of windows for me once before. They turned out super nice, but he's no longer doing them, or maybe he's doing them again. I'm not really sure. You'd have to contact them for that. I'm not really sure. But in the meantime, for those who want to save money, $800, maybe spend $100 on some materials, do it yourself, DIY. I'll show you how I do it and materials that I use and my method. First step, I always start off cleaning the windows around the edges, cleaning the glass, make sure the glass is nice, look for scratches. Then I'll tape them up, because when you're sanding the rubber, you don't want to scratch the glass. It's in really nice shape while you're sanding the edges of the rubber to make it smooth. I'll show you one. I have one that's already taped up, already sanded the edge pretty smooth, got rid of the dead urethane off the window. That's basically where you want to start. So let's check it out real quick. All right. Oh, Baker, she's always on point. So normally what I start with is around the edges. You see how it's deteriorating down through here. Normally I'll grab an old trusty piece of 80 grit sandpaper and I'll knock all the loose rubber urethane off this window. Now that's after I tape it up. I've got this one. This one's ready for primer. I'll tape it up. First I'll clean it with glass cleaner, razor blade, get the glass nice and clean, make sure there's nothing on it, no major scratches. Then I'll tape it off. Then I sand it down. I'll start with 80 grit to knock off the dead rubber. You see it coming off already. Pretty easy. Knock off that dead rubber. Do that all the way around. Now you have up here where it's still nice and smooth. You know, at the top, these were actually in really good shape. But you've got some places on the edges that are burnt pretty bad that you're going to fill in with 2K. And the bottom is pretty good. Now, if you have a nice smooth spot like this, don't start with 80 grit. Use 180 or 220 just to rough that up so the primer is going to stick to it. Now, the primer I'm using is MP282 high build primer, but make sure you get good flex agent for that. You got to have flex agent. Now, if you don't use flex agent, when you put that down, what it is, when you bolt these windows back to the car, they're pretty much rigid. So any kind of flex that's going to get the edge of that quarter plaque, that trim is going to crack. That's just what's going to happen if you don't put flex agent in. Now, how long do these last? I did a set for a customer probably 10 years ago. The car's it's a garage car, show car. He drives the car. They look just as good as the day I did them. Now, I don't know how long they'll last. Only time will tell. If you do them right, I can only imagine they're going to last as long as what these reproduction ones last, which who knows about that. So that being said, let's check these out one more time. Now, on these windows, down in here, these edges right in here, there's always going to have some dead urethane or dead rubber down around and through here. You want to clean that out as well. Like you got some right in here. I don't know if you can see that. So that's stuff you're going to want to trim away before you prime it. See how that's coming off? You're going to get that out of it. Make sure you get down in the gaps really good. You know, all the way up and all the way around. Now, you got this line. I see a lot of guys that restore these. They'll fill this line in with primer and make it smooth. That's supposed to be there. So when I see a set that's been restored and that line's missing, yeah, they look okay, but they're just not right. So that's one thing you want to touch on as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get this other window cleaned up, taped up, and get it ready for primer. Once I got the windows in primer, or ready to primer, I'll show you my mixing procedure on the primer and all that. I've got some other stuff I'm doing at the same time, so it may be kind of hit or miss. I've got the bumpers are already in primer, fender extensions and the plastic moldings are primered already. So I got to reprimer a couple spots on front bumper, and so that'll be working in all at the same time. So if you're watching this video, it's going to be kind of whatever, peach, pads, pods, whatever. But again, just thanks for watching. Kind of stick around if you want to learn how to do these. Like I said, I've done them before in the past, but if you don't want to go back 100 videos, these are for Project Phoenix. The last that I did was for a hatch, but I think that was Arctic Fox I did those for. Same procedure, same method, same materials. These were probably in better shape than ones that were on that car. That was a car that was trying to keep all original, kind of just like this one. So again, thanks for watching. I'll get this all cleaned up, taped up, and ready for primer, and we'll get back at it. All right, so we got on step 2. I got the window clean, got all the dead urethane cut around the edges. I'm ready to prep it, tape it, sand it, and then get ready for first coat of primer. So let's check it out real quick. All right, so on this glass, these windows are super nice, the glass themselves. Now, like I talked about, on the dead urethane that's down through here, you can use a razor blade to trim it, kind of like this, or to get down in there, a good little straight, just a nice flat, sharp, straight tip takes all that out too. You can see I got most all of that out, nice and clean, all the way around the edge, looking really good. So that's kind of step 2, getting them cleaned up, see what you got. Well, I knew both these glasses were super clean. They didn't have any hard scratches or nothing. They're in really nice shape. And I knew the window rubbers are really easy. We're still in good enough shape to restore them. The thing is, just prep clean. I've got them taped off. So once you prime them, you get them sanded smooth the way you want them. You're going to want to untape them. You're going to have some buildup primer between the urethane and the glass. Get down in there and clean that up before you paint the molding black, the trim black, or whatever you're going to use. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have a lot of buildup on the glass itself. And I try to keep it no buildup when I paint it, so when I untape it, I'm done. I might have a little black overspray on the glass you can clean up, or you can leave, you'll never really notice it. It's black anyway, but I try to clean it up if I see any. So this is kind of step 2. Once I get ready to prime these, I'll add to this video and we'll just keep trucking along. Today's going to be a busy day. I got a lot going on. I'm going to do mirrors, bumpers, windows. So I'm trying to get Project Phoenix done, knocked out, and just jamming. And I'm trying to show you all how to do these windows. Again, this is just my method. It works for me. If it works for you and you want to save some money, kind of the best option with the repo windows they got out so far. I did hear rumor there's some Ford tooling ones coming out. I don't know if that's true or not. Different company. I'm looking into that right now, so we'll see. But for right now, this is how I do them. If I can save them, I'm going to save them. Not wasting money on repo quarter windows anymore. I'm not happy with the way they fit or how you got to install them, or they want you to urethane them in instead of using actual studs. To me, that's kind of half-assed. So I don't need something on my cars like that. I'd rather have some originals that got some small flaws that I know are originals, and they've been around for 30 years. If I can make them last another 10 or 15, that's awesome. So I won't harp on that no more. I'm going to get on this, and if y'all want to keep watching this video on quarter windows, maybe you can save yours and save you some money. Stick with me. All right, so you're still with me? Got second glass cleaned up, taped up. Show you a couple little tricks I didn't talk about before I get into the priming part of this procedure. So I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about. All right, so earlier on the video I talked about the lines right through here. So this one was kind of faint. Now keep in mind, this is what I call arts and crafts, just like any other thing. If the line is really faint, you can take your 80 grit, fold it in half where it's real sharp, and then just put it in the edge of the line right here, and take some material out of there. That'll bring your line back before you prime it, so you got a line when you start priming. And up here, you got a little guide tabs for your drip reel molding. I'll normally tape that off because I don't want to primer this, because I don't care how much flex agent you use. Once this bends, it's going to crack. So I don't like to prime this part right here at all. I like to keep that bare rubber if it's in really good shape. So you're still watching. That's just a few tips on what I do and how I do these. And so once I get ready to prime these, I'll get you guys back and show you what mixing procedure I use on my primer. But I've got to do some mirrors right now, and I'm sure you don't care about that. Same procedure: sand, scuff, paint, Sand Scuff Prime Paint. Arts and crafts. Super easy. Anybody can do this stuff. You ain't got to pay a body shop to do it. I take my time and do it right, and just try to show you how to do it so you ain't got to take it somewhere. So again, keep on watching and we'll get these knocked out. All right, so I got my bumper sanded, ready to prime. The quarter windows are taped up, ready to prime. I told you I used an Omni Primer 282 high build primer with the 283 activator and any kind of PPG flex additive. Now the amount of flex additive, primer simple, it makes it 4-to-1. The flex agent, they say it's like 5%. Sometimes if I'm doing bumpers or quarter glass, I'll put a little bit more, maybe 10 or 15%, just to give it a little bit more flex. It does take a little longer to cure, and it sands a little harder. It's a little softer than it would be without the flex agent, obviously, because it's allowing the primer to give and flex. So that's what you want. So I'll show you the bumpers. They turn out phenomenal. Yeah, one more coat of primer and they're ready for paint. So let's check all this stuff out. All right, so back bumper ready to go. Front bumper ready to go. Always remove the headlight panel. I'm gonna get on a rant. That's one of my pet peeves. I effing hate when I see people do a Fox body and they paint the headlight panel and the mounting brackets and the freaking airbag sensors. That's not restored. I mean, I guess in somebody's opinion it's restored, but to me, if that's typical Mako shit. If you're doing that kind of work, maybe take it and let somebody else do it right. No offense to you guys that have had cars painted that way and you didn't know they did that. There is a way to clean that up and make it look better, but if you're doing work like that, please stop. That's not the right way to do it. Take a little bit more time, put a little extra effort into your work, and it will show when you're done. It'll be tenfold what it's worth. So yeah, that's my rant for today. So all right, yeah, so there's quarter windows ready to go. Primer's mixed up in the cup. I normally let that set for a few minutes. Don't let it set too hard, it will harden up with activator. That's the windows ready to go. Gonna get some primer on them and see what they look like. Mirrors are in really good shape. I'm just gonna put a little nice fresh coat of primer on it, a couple small chips I want to fill in. Nothing major, but yep, that's about it. So, yep. So, if you're still watching, hang with me. Get some primer on this, show you what one coat looks like. I'm gonna put it on pretty heavy, fill in them cracks, and then we'll have to resand it with 220 or 180, smooth them up, and then reprime. Sand paint, reprime, sand paint, reprime, whatever you want to call it. Prime, sand, reprime. Yeah, until you're happy with the finish that you can paint them. So let me get going and get these knocked out. All right. If you're still watching, bumpers of primer, quarter windows got first coats of primer. Probably got 3 pretty decent coats on the trim around the windows. Let's just show those real quick. And that's it. Got the gun cleaned out, got to clean the floor, get the car back in, call it a Sunday. I normally don't work on Sundays, but got to get this thing finished. Again, I said it once before, I'm going to try to unveil this in MRA September 28th, October 1st, if anybody wants to come check it out. New owner's going to be there, so we'll see what he thinks of the car. Hope he's happy. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And without further ado, let's show you these quarter windows. Now again, I'm going to resand these with 180 or 220 and then reprime them. In between that, I will untape them and retape them to get the primer that's on the window and in between the crack around the edge if you got some heavy primer to remove that. It's always best to do it that way. You don't have to. That's just the way I do it. So let's check them out. All right. So keep in mind, this is probably about 2 or 3 coats of 2K. I've got a little ridge right here that should fill in when I sand it. Believe it or not, that stuff fills in really good. You know what they look like before? This is what I'm talking about, heavy primer right in here in between the tape and the actual rubber itself. It'll fill in, and when that 2K hardens, it's just like pretty much a body filler. You want to get that clean up before you reprime it. Again, this is what I was talking about. See how that's going to crack? So always tape that up so when I put it on the car, it doesn't crack right there. It's the other side. Like I said, you see in this right here, this all will sand out, believe it or not. Looks really good. I know you might not think that yet, but once I get to resand them, it'll look really nice. The lines are really, really deep up through here like they're supposed to be on both of them. So they should look really nice. Rear bumper. I did some reducing on the primer after I did the quarter windows. Laid down nice and flat. These are ready for paint. There's front bumper. That's also ready for paint. Should be ready to go. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah, bumpers, sorry for the lighting. Bumpers are same process as quarter windows, 2K primer, flex agent as their urethane, and you're going to put the headlight panel on the front, and you don't want that to crack when you put that back together. So far everything's looking nice. I'm going to try to get the bumpers, side moldings are in there, as I think you can see them right there on that beat up ass red 93 cover right there. So they're ready to go. Get those done next week. Let me know what you think so far. When I get these windows done, I'll make another little video, maybe reprime paint, just something 5 or 10 minutes to show you the completed project for you guys that want to give this a try versus wasting money on a repo set of windows. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and everybody have a good weekend.